I don't believe in anybody who thinks his money can buy anybody and anything.
Was that Sheriff?
That was his posture.
And he had the money.
He had the money.
Money is power.
This was somebody who told us that he had 76 jeeps before he became governor.
What was he doing before he became governor?
He was a businessman. He was a businessman.
And he used that money to win the 2003 election.
Yeah, he did. He won that election. I think in our recent history, I think he probably was the first who dislodged an incumbent.
Obasanjo was against Malakashala.
I wouldn't say Obasanjo was against Malakashala.
Did Obasanjo back Modu Sheriff?
Yes, he did. Because one of his aides, in person of Andy Uba, was very close to Ali Modu Sheriff. Now, if the 2003 election was not too clear, that of 2007 was clearer. In 2007, that was when I was involved in the build-up to the 2007 election. In 2007, votes were still being counted in Maiduguri when Ali Modu Sheriff was declared winner from Abuja under Professor Morisiu, and we all knew who Professor Morisiu worked for.
Obasanjo was PDP.
Yes.
Ali Modu Sheriff was AMPP.
APP, then later AMPP.
Yeah. So what was it that Obasanjo wanted?
No, usually if you follow Obasanjo's style very well, he made deliberate incursion into the opposition's camp. And that was why somebody like Prince Abubakar Audu, even though he was of the ANPP in Kogi, he refused to allow the late General Buhari access to campaign in Kogi. And that was why most people didn't know when Prince Abubakar was to contest again after Buhari had become president, Buhari didn't hide the fact that he didn't like his candidature.
But he got the ticket.
He got the ticket through the support of the current president. He got the ticket. So in Sokoto, Bafawa was in touch with Obasanjo. Most of the NPP states, Aleru, they were working in alliance with Obasanjo. And so they even contributed in nominating the ministerial nominees from their states. Dagash was dropped as a minister because of Ali Modu Sheriff.
He fell out with Modu Sheriff.
Under Yaradua and even Jonathan. So they have a way. If they know how to play their politics very well, they have a way of partnering with the opposition. It's a kind of rub my back and I rub yours, kind of relationship. That was what Obasanjo operated.
All this happened behind the scenes.
Of course, they will happen behind the scene.
But we will now see it in the reflection of their actions.
Actions. In appointments, in some of the decisions. Otherwise, the man who contested against Ali Modu Sheriff in 2007 under the PDP's platform was Obasanjo's presidential liaison officer, Kashim Imam. He was very close to Obasanjo. Before the election, everything he asked for, Obasanjo granted, including changing the police commissioner. But at the end of the day, the government apparatus, the way they behaved, showed very clearly where the president's interest lies. Otherwise, how will a state being run by ANPP, PDP wants to take over the state, yet announcement that the man who ran on the platform of the ANPP was done from Abuja? Who was in control of the central government? PDP. How else do you explain that?
This is how power works.
Yeah, this is how they work.
And that's the dynamics of power in Nigeria.
It is. Even under Jonathan, it happened in Anambra with Obiano. They will not tell you in the open, but you see their body language, you see their actions. That, as we speak now, APC is in Anambra appears to be suspecting that they may have been traded off.
Have they not been traded off?
For now, I do not have any concrete evidence. But if historical antecedents is anything to go by, from the way Soludo has been praising the government at the center, from the way he's been mounting his relationship with the president, it is not unlikely that something would have happened behind.
What is this thing that happened behind?
You know, if, for instance, if majority of the government in power is not favorably disposed to the candidate the party is presenting, and if they feel very strongly that the incumbent has something to contribute more meaningfully than the candidate they are promoting, they will just enter into a kind of a deal. Okay, we'll support you, you win your governorship. When it is time for presidential election, you also support us.
And you saw naked politics play out in Borno State.
Very well.
And this was like you studying politics.
Yeah.
You then moved from a reporter to being a political strategist.
Yeah.
You know, meeting different politicians. So you had 2 jobs, right?
Yes.
How were you able to manage that?
Well, I was able to manage that because what I do as a political strategist has nothing to do with my line of reporting.
But it's the same you.
Yeah, it's the same me, but I play them differently.
Reporting on political gladiators.
I will report factually the way things happen.
But the bent.
I will advise, okay, you do this. For instance, I'll give you an instance. Dagash introduced me to Honorable Umara Kumalia. Honorable Umara Kumalia was a former minority leader in the House of Reps. He was the one who moved the popular resign or be impeached motion against President Obasanjo. Now, Kumalia wanted to run for the governorship. He had fallen out with Ali Modu Sheriff. He wanted to run for the governorship in 2007. And he defected to PDP. Once he defected to PDP, they were dilly-dallying over whether to give him waiver. You know, if you defect, if you are not giving waiver, you can't contest for any position. So he defected. Now, he was the first person to defect. It was after he defected that Senator Mohammed Abahaji, also from Borno, defected. Now, all those who defected after Kumalia were giving waiver, but Kumalia was not giving waiver. But before then, I told him, I said, look, I understand that you have some level of relationship with Kashim Imam. Let us call a meeting between the 2 of you. Agree on power sharing model so that Kashim Imam can leave this thing for you. I said, because if the 2 of you go into the contest for the primaries, one of you will eventually win. But whoever wins, there will be crisis within the PDP. And the man you want to dislodge will eventually triumph over the 2 of you. They dilly-dallied over it. When eventually he now got in touch with me to say that a meeting has been called between him and Kashim Imam and other stakeholders of the party by Ambassador Babagana Kingibe, I told him clearly that from what I know, Ambassador Babagana Kingibe is supporting Kashim Imam. So certainly the outcome of that meeting cannot be favorable to you. And it came to pass. By the time he now said he was defecting to the AC then, as it was then known, I told him, well, at this point, because by my nature, I won't lie to you because I want your money. I will tell you the truth. I said, look, the AC you are going to, you will get the ticket, but you are not going to win the election. Kashim Imam will get the PDP ticket, he will not win the election. I said, Ali Modu Sheriff will eventually triumph at the end of the day and he will run all of you out of town.
And he ran them out of town.
At some point, most of them couldn't go home. They were operating from Abuja.
So while he was running them out of time, was he sowing the seed for the emergence of Boko Haram?
Well, if you look at the way he ran that government and because of the way thugs virtually took over everywhere, because most of those who eventually became Boko Haram, from what some of the party chieftains also said, had some kind of relationship. Because I remember late Jerry Husseini once granted an interview on the national TV accusing, Ali Modu Sheriff of breeding, because then in Borno, if you make any statement against Ali Modu Sheriff, Rest assured that political talks will visit you before nightfall.
It was that tough?
And God help you if they meet you at home. There was a time we were to go and interview, was it Buka Buluri? We were in the house when the talks came in. They beat everybody inside. In fact, they had one of our colleagues, head him up and his legs, were shaking. And one of them now said, why not enjoy doing that? These people are journalists, they are just doing their own job. Let's leave them alone. And that was how they spared us. But they beat the wives of the man and beat everybody up. That was what was obtainable under Ali Modu Sheriff.